His family announced I'd be hosting every holiday for 40 people. My husband just shrugged, "It's what wives do." I smiled and said, "Of course." Then I handed him an email. His face went pale. Inside? My 6-month solo travel itinerary. I wasn't cooking anymore, I was finally choosing myself. When I married Dylan, I thought I'd joined a loving, boisterous family. What I actually walked into was a dynasty of entitlement, thinly veiled as tradition. At first, they were warm, loud dinners, inside jokes, endless gatherings. But beneath the surface, their version of family came with rules. And every single one of them was written for women like me. It started slow. The first year, I hosted Thanksgiving. I offered. I wanted to impress them. I spent 2 full days cooking, turkey, stuffing, pies, everything from scratch. Not one person brought a dish. Not one offered to help clean up. When dinner ended, the men drifted to the living room. The women gossiped in cliques. And me? I was left alone in the kitchen, scrubbing pans with shaking hands. I told myself it was a one-time thing. Then Christmas came. Then Easter. Then every birthday, graduation, retirement, and Sunday dinner for the next 5 years. Always me. Always my kitchen. Always my time, my effort, my exhaustion. And Dylan? He never lifted a finger. Never offered to help. Never told them to. Whenever I brought it up, he'd smile, kiss my cheek, and say, "It's just what wives do." Last Christmas was the final straw. I had spent 48 hours on my feet, cooking for 40 people. I hadn't even eaten yet when Dylan strolled in, beaming. "Mom and the girls decided you'll host every holiday from now on," he said, like it was a gift. "They say you're the best cook in the family." I stared at him. "Every holiday?" He shrugged. "It's not a big deal. You're amazing at it." Something inside me shattered, quietly, cleanly. I smiled. Of course. And that night, while they laughed in the living room and I cleaned alone for the 1,000th time, I made a plan. I opened my laptop. I booked 6 months of travel. Flights. Hotels. Cities I'd only ever dreamed of. A fake culinary fellowship abroad. It didn't exist. But the freedom? That was real. I sent one email to his entire family. "Dear all, I've been accepted into a once-in-a-lifetime culinary program across Europe and Southeast Asia. I won't be available to host holidays this year, but I know you'll figure it out. Much love, me." The next morning, Dylan's face went white when he saw the itinerary. "You're what?" "I'm leaving in March," I said, calmly sipping my coffee. "It's what women like me do, remember?" Panic set in. His mother called, shrieking. His sisters sent texts laced with guilt and venom. "You're selfish. You've ruined the family. A real wife doesn't walk away." I replied once. "A real wife isn't your maid." Dylan tried everything, charm, guilt, threats. "If you leave, we're over." I met his eyes. "Then we're over." I walked out with a suitcase and a smile. Now I'm writing this from a seaside cafe in Portugal, watching the sun melt into the Atlantic. Back home, they're probably burning the ham and blaming each other. And me? I'm done serving everyone but myself. Finally. I'm full. I didn't scream. I didn't flip a table or cry into my apron. When Dylan said, "They all agreed, you'll host every holiday from now on," something inside me didn't shatter. It didn't explode. It crystallized. Sharp. Clear. Unapologetic. He stood there, grinning like he'd just handed me a crown. Like being named family hostess forever was the highest honor a woman like me could hope for. And in that moment, I saw it all, the entitlement, the complacency, the way he'd never once seen me sweat over a stove and thought to offer help. The way I'd become part of the furniture, a fixture in the kitchen. Not a partner. A service. I looked at him. Smiled. And said, "Of course." Because it wasn't worth the fight. What was coming next didn't need words. That night, while they lounged in the living room drinking wine and laughing, I stood in the kitchen alone, hands deep in soapy water, watching flecks of gravy dry like scars on the plates. I didn't cry. I dried my hands. Went upstairs. Opened my laptop. And I booked my freedom. 6 months. Across Europe. Southeast Asia. The islands. Cities that had lived in the back of my mind like childhood dreams. I didn't care about logistics. I didn't ask permission. I wasn't looking for approval. I didn't need anyone's blessing to reclaim my life. The email I sent the next morning was simple. Subject, holiday hosting update. Dear family. I've been offered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a culinary fellowship across Europe, exploring regional cooking traditions. I'll be traveling for 6 months starting this spring. Unfortunately, I won't be able to host holidays this year, but I'm confident you'll all step up and make it work. Much love. Me. Was it real? No. But neither was their version of love. The fallout was immediate. Dylan's face drained of color when he read the email over breakfast. You're leaving? He choked. For how long? 6 months. His fork clattered onto the plate. What about Thanksgiving? Christmas? I sipped my coffee. I'm sure someone will figure it out, I said lightly. It's just what families do, right? He stared at me like I'd just stabbed him. And maybe I had, in the only place he felt it. Control. Within hours, his phone was buzzing. His mother. His sisters. His aunts. The guilt flowed like cheap wine. You're abandoning us. You're ruining the family. What kind of wife does this? To one particularly venomous text, I responded. One who's finally done being your free labor. Dylan tried every tactic. Sweetness. Guilt. Anger. Ultimatums. If you leave, don't bother coming back. I met his eyes. Okay. And that's when I knew I'd already left. The night before, in that kitchen full of dirty dishes and dried-out traditions. I had left him. Not with my body. With my spirit. I spent the first few weeks abroad doing absolutely nothing that resembled responsibility. Cappuccinos in Rome. Fresh bread in Paris. A lazy afternoon nap in a hammock strung between 2 palm trees in Santorini. No one called my name. No one asked what time dinner would be ready. No one expected anything from me. And for the first time in years, I could breathe. I turned off my phone for the first month. I didn't care what Dylan was thinking. I didn't care what his mother had to say. Let them squirm. But curiosity is a persistent whisper. So one rainy night in Barcelona, I turned my phone back on. 37 missed calls. Hundreds of texts. One passive-aggressive email from his mom, hope you had fun ruining Christmas. I laughed. And then I started reading. Thanksgiving, they tried ordering a full meal from the local grocery store, but forgot to pick it up on time. The order was cancelled. They ended up eating microwave hot dogs and bagged chips. Christmas, Dylan's sister offered to cook. She set the oven on fire. The kitchen walls had to be repainted. New Year's, no one agreed on who was hosting. Everyone showed up at Dylan's house assuming he had it covered. He thought someone else would. They ended up drinking warm beer and eating stale crackers. Easter, takeout Chinese food. Cold. Forgotten soy sauce packets on paper plates. But the best part? They turned on each other. Without me there to play hostess, chef, therapist, and emotional punching bag, the cracks in their perfect family widened into canyons. His mother blamed Dylan. His sisters blamed his mother. The aunts complained. The uncles left early. Apparently, I wasn't just the cook. I was the glue. And without me, everything fell apart. Then came Lisa. Oh, sweet Lisa. The new girlfriend. The replacement. From what mutual friends told me, she was younger. Soft-spoken. A great cook. Perfect. At first. She made the mistake of offering to help, earnest and eager, just like I once was. She cooked an entire Easter meal by herself, hoping to be appreciated. Then she asked if anyone could help clean up. Dylan's mother smiled and said, "Oh no, dear. That's your job now." Lisa walked out of the house before dessert. Dylan followed her outside, probably ready to give the same excuses he used on me. But Lisa? She wasn't having it. According to the texts I got later that night, she told him, "I'm not your maid. I'm not your wife. And I sure as hell am not your next unpaid chef." She dumped him on the front lawn. From across the world, I watched Dylan's carefully crafted life unravel. His mom blamed him for losing the only woman who knew how to run things. His sisters stopped visiting. His girlfriend left him. And me? I watched the chaos from a sunlit balcony in Greece, sipping wine and smiling. They had mistaken my silence for obedience. But now, they understood. I wasn't the one who needed them. They needed me. And I was finally done needing anyone who never lifted a single plate. I always thought that when a marriage ended, the silence would be the loudest part. I was wrong. It wasn't the silence that haunted me. It was the echo, the way Dylan tried to fill the void I left with fantasy. At first, I thought he'd eventually move on. Maybe he'd sulk, maybe he'd rage, but eventually, he'd accept it. But obsession doesn't grieve. Obsession rewrites reality. It began subtly. A few blurry photos posted to his social media. A dinner table set for two. A glass of wine poured across from his. A caption, "She's back. Just needed space." People messaged me, confused. "Are you home? Wait, are you back together?" I hadn't returned. I was still in Croatia, sitting on a stone balcony watching the waves crash against the cliffs. When I saw the first post, I laughed. By the fifth, I felt my chest tighten. He posted pictures of meals I never cooked. A cozy fireplace with two slippers by the hearth, one pair was mine. I had thrown them out before I left. Then came the picture of a shadowy figure through a window. Caption: "She doesn't like pictures. But she's home." I wanted to vomit. I ignored it until the email came. From his mother. We hadn't spoken since I left. I expected guilt. Insults. Drama. But what I got instead was a warning. "I don't know what's going on with Dylan," she wrote. "But you need to be careful. He's not handling this well. He says things, unsettling things. You might want to come back before it gets worse." I stared at the screen, pulse pounding. This was the same woman who once called me ungrateful for bringing store-bought pie. Now she was worried? I texted a friend back home, someone who always remained neutral. Me, "Hey. Have you seen Dylan lately?" Friend, "Yeah." Why? Me, "Got a weird email. From his mom." Friend, "Oh, yeah. He's not doing great." That's when she told me everything. After Lisa left, Dylan spiraled. First, he told everyone I just needed time. That I was coming home soon. Then, he started saying I was already back. He told coworkers I was resting after a long trip. He told the grocery clerk we were trying again. He told his family I was keeping things quiet for now. But when people questioned him, he snapped. He deleted comments. Blocked friends. Claimed people were jealous of our second chance. Then, he showed up at my parents' house. My brother called, furious. He stood on the front porch for 3 hours, he said. Kept saying you were hiding inside. Said this was all part of your game. That you were testing him. The air left my lungs. He didn't try to break in, did he? I asked. My brother hesitated. Not exactly. But, he wouldn't leave. We had to call the cops. He told Mom, she'll come home. She has to. I sat there, staring out at the sea, heart pounding like a warning bell. This wasn't grief. This was possession. Dylan hadn't lost a wife. He'd lost his grip. And for the first time since I left. I was scared. I landed back in the US under a sky as gray as my nerves. 6 months ago, I left behind a house full of resentment and unwashed dishes. Now, I was coming home to something far worse, a man who had replaced reality with fantasy. My brother picked me up from the airport. His hands gripped the wheel tighter than usual. You sure you want to do this? He asked. I have to, I said, staring out the window. I need to see it with my own eyes. When we pulled up to the house, I froze. Every single light was on. Curtains pulled open like someone was waiting for a guest who never arrived. The porch light flickered. The front door was unlocked. I stepped inside. And the breath left my lungs. My coat, the one I'd taken on the plane 6 months ago, was hanging by the door. My favorite mug was on the counter. The table was set for 2. My plate was full, untouched. Like I had just stepped away to grab the salt. Like I'd never left. Then I heard it, footsteps. He appeared at the top of the stairs, wearing the same sweatshirt from the night I left. He smiled. You're home, he whispered. His eyes were wide. Bright. Unblinking. I swallowed hard. Dylan. I knew you'd come back, he said, walking down slowly. You always do. I took a step back. My brother shifted beside me. What is this? I asked, my voice shaking. Dylan's smile widened. You were testing me. I figured it out. You wanted me to appreciate you more. That's why you left. That's why you made up that culinary program. Clever. But it's over now. You're back. My stomach flipped. This wasn't grief. This wasn't heartbreak. This was delusion in its purest form. No, I said firmly. I didn't leave to teach you a lesson. I left because I was done. His expression twisted. You're lying, he said, voice trembling. You love me. You're my wife. You swore. I filed for divorce. 4 months ago, I interrupted. You would have known if you checked your mail. He froze. And then, he snapped. You think you can just walk away from this? From me? He lunged. But my brother was faster. He shoved Dylan backward. He stumbled, hit the edge of the table. The plate, the fake dinner he made for me, shattered on the floor. Dylan collapsed beside it, breathing hard. You did this, he whispered, eyes glossy. You ruined everything. I looked down at him, the broken man who once called me his partner while watching me drown. No, I said, my voice steady. You did. Then I turned and walked out. And this time, I didn't look back. The divorce was finalized. He didn't sign. It didn't matter. The court granted it anyway. His family, once so quick to defend him, turned on him the moment they saw the truth. You let her slip away, they said. You destroyed the only one who kept this family together. He lost everything. And me? I sat in a seaside cafe in Italy, exactly 1 year after I left, sipping espresso as the sun rose. Not a wife. Not a maid. Not a caretaker. Just a woman who finally said, enough. And meant it.